Hi everyone, I'm back today with such a fun card to show you. For the first time today, I'm going to be playing with some of my loam foam products, which Practical Publishing sent me as part of my prize bundle for winning Card Maker of the Year. And this is the Tea-rrific Day bundle. So much fun, honestly, you'll see. So I'm here taking out all the little stamps, and boy was I panicking. I never used teeny tiny stamps like this, not so many on a one card anyway before. So this was quite nerve-wracking at the start, but it turned out to be quite amazing. I really enjoyed the process. So I'm just going to be stamping them here with Memento black ink first of all. And I'm going to be stamping some of them several times, some of them just once. We'll be turning the cardstock to the other side to fill out the blank space in there, and then you will see I will be bringing in another piece of cardstock as well. Most of this is just me cleaning the stamps and putting them back away, so I just really removed that footage. Really no point anyone watching that. So this is the extra piece of cardstock, and I'm stamping all the little macaroons, the cakes, the teacups and cutlery and whatnot several times in there. And here I am starting to color these little images in. I will be showing you a few in here, not all of them, because this would be quite a long video if I show you me coloring in every single image in here. But I'm using my tri-blend alcohol markers and also the single alcohol markers from Spectrum Noir. I really enjoy using these. It helps with shading so much that you have them really in a one pen, or even the single ones are numbered, so you know exactly which one is darker, which one would be a lighter shade. So for the tree trunk and some of the animals, I'm using all different shades of the browns and some different shades of the grays for the animals again. And as for the rest of the stuff, I'm using bright colors, all different colors from yellows to pinks, purples and grays, greens. I want this to be a real nice, colorful card, like a happy little tea party in the woods. So I'm using reds and greens to fill in just that bunting. I really want the colors to stand out from the tree trunk, so that's why I chose real nice and strong colors in here. But some of these will be covered up whenever I'm arranging the card anyway. Now at this point I didn't know how many images of which I will be using, so I have a lot more in here than what I will need at the end. But it's okay, because I can always keep these for future cards. Once I'm finished with the tree trunk, I'm going to start coloring in my little animals. So to do that, I'm choosing all different shades of browns and grays. So this first one that I'm going for is a tan blend, and I'm starting with the darkest shade on the right hand side, and as I move on towards the left, I'm going lighter and the lightest blend from that same marker. For the belly and the face, as you will see later, I will be using a much lighter shade of browns. I think it was the first skin blend. And then for all the accessories, the hat, the tiki bow, I will be using bright colors. Again, I'm not going for a realistic look in here. I'm having it nice and cartoony, like real happy, colorful card. It's just really enjoyable coloring in here. So this is the hat, and I'm coming in with the ice gray, for the hat, and then adding color to the ribbon, and also for the little tiki bow, lovely, I think it's the rose red or ruby red. And then the next one is the hedgehog. I will be cutting the coloring short after this one. There really is no point me showing how am I coloring in these lovely images, but basically I'm coming in with darker on the one side and then lighter as I move on to the left hand side of these animals. Basically I'm staying with the same kind of a theme for them all. Again, the first clean blend for the little body and the face, and then green for the hat. I think this is a jade green. It's such a vibrant, lovely color. I really love it. I love most of these colors anyway. You can, as I said, I'm coming in with some singles as well, but I don't have ribbon markers for that color combination. So, and this is it. I'm going to be doing the coloring off camera. And that is them all finished. Now some of them I had to restamp, like for example the cake, because there was like a mark very close to it. And then the cake stand, which I thought I colored in too strong of a color in there, the turquoise one. So I decided to stamp those out a few times, all different colors. Some stampings work better than others. But yeah, I'm learning. Okay, so these are the cake stands in all different colors. I don't know yet which ones if I am going to use at this point. So now this is where I was getting a bit nervous because I had to start die cutting all these out, and lining up die cuts and all has never been my strength. So yeah, now this is me after die cutting them like 15 hours later. No, honestly, wasn't so bad. They die cut quite well. Most of them, like, there's a little hedgehog which I missed one side of it, but it's okay. I'm just working with it now. There were a few of these teeny tiny bits that I completely butchered up. I think these were the only 4 that I was unable to use. All the rest of them was salvageable. Even the little heart cookie, look at them. The second time I just lined it up perfect. So yeah, it's just gonna take a little bit of a practice. I will definitely be working with this set again because I loved playing with this, and definitely this is not going to hold me back. The most of them turned out just absolutely perfect. Next, I'm moving on to these die cuts. These are just really, really cute. The teapot and the teacup. And I end up cutting them both out, but I will only end up using the teapot for this card. The teacup will be kept for some another project. Okay, so I cut them both out from white heavyweight cardstock, but also went for all the dots from Long Fawn. This is a mini paper pad, a 6x6 paper pad, and look at those gorgeous, vibrant colors. So I've cut the teapot out of the yellow one and the teacup out of the pink, but I'll come back to those later. Next, I'm going to do some ink blending for my background on a piece of white cardstock that measures 4 by 8.5 inches. For the sky bit, I'm coming in with a blue that is broken china. For the grass bit, the green is cracked pistachio, and then I'm going to be using salvage patina in between these 2 colors to blend them in. I think it's such a gorgeous color, definitely one of my favorites from the Distress Oxide range to use lately, and I find it blends really beautifully with both the green and the blue. Once I lay all 3 colors down, I'll come back on the blend lines with both colors touching until I get a real nice smooth blend, which I like. Then I find it's best to set the card bit aside for a while to dry. The blend will get a lot smoother as it dries a little bit. Before choosing a sentiment for this piece of cardstock, I'm going to mount it up against a white piece of cardstock that measures 4.25 by 8.75, and mainly because I will be heat embossing sentiments, at least one of them, and this will help me prevent any kind of warping when I'm adding heat to my cardstock. So now I'm going to be bringing in some of my little die cuts just as placeholders. This will help me figure out where my sentiments should be going. Please note that the teapot is not finished yet. I will be working on in just a second. This is really, as I said, just for placeholders so I can get a better idea where I want to stamp my sentiments. Now the sentiments I'm going to be using from the Tea-rrific Day add-on stamp set. And one of them on the bottom will say it's time to party, and on the top it will say happy birthday to you twice, but in like a wavy shape, just like you can see it in there now. Now to stamp these, I'm going to be bringing in my stamping platform. This will just help me keep them nice and straight. But before I stamp, I in here remember to check whether my cardstock is fully dry so the embossing powder won't stick to anything else than it needs to. So in here I'm bringing in my white embossing powder. As you can see, it's still sticking, so meaning the cardstock is still quite wet. So I'm bringing in my heat tool in and giving it a quick blast to make sure it will be nice and dry for me to stamp on. Once that's done, I want to do a quick testing before stamping again. So I'm bringing in my embossing body first of all, and then I'm going to sprinkle some embossing powder over it, and it's good to go. Nothing sticks to it at this point. It's lovely and dry. So back comes the stamping platform again, and I'm trying to arrange the card back the way it was. And My idea, first of all, is to use white embossing powder for both of these sentiments. So I'm bringing in my sticky ink pad for embossing, and I'm stamping both of these sentiments. Once I add the embossing powder, however, I can see that the bottom sentiment, the "It's Time to Party," is perfect. The top one, however, is very smudged. I don't know whether I applied too much pressure or why, but it's just not looking right. So I try to wipe it off with my embossing body, and it works. Like seems to be nothing left on that cardstock. It looks perfect. So I gave it a quick hit, and I decided instead I will be stamping it just with black VersaFine ink. Now, before I do that, however, I don't want to risk anything, so I'm going to try stamping it on a piece of copy paper, and it stamps beautifully. So I'm coming back with that same VersaFine ink and adding it on top of my cardstock, and it looks absolutely perfect. I actually like the contrast of the black and the white in there, and because everything else is stamped in black, I think it will actually add a real nice addition to this card. So I was quite happy with it at this. But I will have to come back to do a little bit of a doctoring on my sentiment later, because it's never straightforward. Just stay with me. In here, I'm working on this little teapot, which I've cut out of the white heavyweight cardstock and the paper pad as well, the yellow dotted paper pad from Lone Fawn. And I'm going to use the extra lid, the handle, and cutting of the spite here, not realizing that I already had a spite cut out. Doesn't matter. And I'm going to be bringing in my mustard seed distress oxiding, and I'm going to add a real heavy layer of that onto all these three pieces. I want this color to be just as vibrant as everything else is that I'd already colored in with my alcohol markers. So now I'm going to be gluing this in place on top of the yellow dotted card piece. And then I'm going to take the white teapot and I'm going to be gluing this behind it. It's really just to add a little bit of a sturdiness, a little bit of a dimension before gluing this onto my card. So here I just cut the top bit and the handle away. I'm just using really the big body of the teapot just for that little added dimension in there. Quickly into my mat. I don't want to transfer yellow onto anything in here. So now this is where the fun begins, trying to arrange which creature will go where, who will sit around the table, who will be in the teapot. And I'm bringing the teacup here momentarily just to try, but then I decided against it. It was just too much for this card, so it will be going in my little box to be kept for later. So I decide with the little mice in the teapot, and it will be holding a little tea bag, which I will be coming in adding soon. In here, I decided to use the mushrooms as little stools. I thought they were just the perfect size for this, so I was going to scatter them on the bottom of the card, but then I thought, why not? Why not add them as little chairs for them around that little table where they are having their lovely party? So now I'm playing around with the colors as well a bit. I've colored the teacups in all different colors, but I'm choosing yellow ones for this one in here. That will bring a little bit of a yellow onto the right hand side of the cardstock as well, just to add a little bit of a balance in those colors. And now this tea bag that came with the set, with the die cut set, I'm going to be adding a little bit of a pink color, and this is the Kitsch Flamingo. And the brown one, I'm just adding to the little bit of a string, and I think it's the gather twigs that I had in here. So just adding the color, a lovely heavier layer for the little heart to go in the middle of the decoration of that tea bag, which I think is meant to be on the other side of the string, other end of the string, but it doesn't matter. I'm adding a tea bag as my decoration for the string. As I said, I wasn't striving for anything realistic looking in here, just nice, lots of cuteness. Okay, so once I have decided where everything was going, I'm going to start gluing everything down. Now, my best bet in here is to use my quick grab glue with the fine tip at the end of the glue bottle, because I definitely don't want the glue to start oozing out and then reacting with my distress oxiding. Just like it has on the top left corner, you can see a white mark in there, but that will be easy fix. We will cover that up in a second. with a little butterfly. But I'm just trying to be very careful, so that's why I'm using my quick grab glue, and I'm working quite slowly in here. I really don't want to start messing this up now. I would cry. So I'm just arranging everything back exactly the same way that I had arranged them in there, and then I'm going to be adding little bits and pieces onto that table. I end up not using the cake this time, but I'm going to use the tiered macaroon holder or biscuit holder. You know, I have to say I so really enjoyed using this stamp set, coloring them in. The die cutting I will get used to. But the coloring was definitely a favorite of mine to do. It definitely encouraged me to do some more coloring in the future, so watch this space. I'm going to grab this opportunity while you're watching me here, just arranging the little creatures and all the little elements in there, to ask you, if you haven't yet done so, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell so you will get notified anytime I upload some more videos, because I definitely will be bringing some more, and most certainly will be doing a lot more coloring on video on screen than I have been doing. I have been practicing the coloring in kind of a background noise and not so much on videos, but I definitely have been practicing and growing to love it. And this card was way out of my comfort zone with everything, the ink blending, the coloring and everything, and that is so very exposed, but I absolutely loved doing it. So watch this space. Hit the bell. Thank you in advance. Okay, so now I'm adding the little bird on the tea bag there. I think she's quite cute looking, sitting in there. And now some of the butterflies, and I will be coming in to add a little bit of a floral display on the bottom in the grass there. The flowers were from the same stamp and die set again. Finally adding the last bits before I'm going to use the card base, a green colored one from the Lidl cardstock range, which measures 9 by 9 inches and scored down at 4.5 in the middle. So I am gluing it up against that, and this is the card lovely and ready. However, I smudged that sentiment in there. I genuinely don't know how I did that when I did that. Didn't even notice until the very end. In here I decided to bring in my coordinating stamps and dies from Longphone, and this is the banner tastic. And the stamps have two elements to them, the outline and the solid stamp as well, just like I'm showing here. Now I decided not to use the solid one for this project. I'm going to go with the outline stamp with the coordinating die. So I'm cutting out the coordinating die from very pale pink cardstock. I tried white, but it was too stark. I didn't like it. So that's why I went with this very pale pink color. To line this up perfectly, I'm using the negative piece of that cardstock, which I line my stamp into. And then I add the piece that I will be using. And using my black Memento ink pad, I'm going to stamp this twice to get a real good impression before adding my sentiment, the happy birthday to you, which is twice, back into it. So now I'm going to be using the same black ink pad to stamp it in there, and this looks absolutely perfect. Now when I'm going to add it to my card, I actually am happy that I made that mistake, because I love how it looks in there. It looks like there's a banner for the party in the background in there, because I managed to tuck it in behind the teapot there a little bit. So it really looks cool. It adds an extra bit of a dimension to that card too, as if it was in the background there truly. So this is the card ready, and as I said, I am so happy that I pushed my limits with this one, as much as for the coloring, the ink blending and everything else on this card. It's not something that I made before, and I am so very happy that I decided to come out of my comfort zone. I really hope you like the card as much as I do, and if you want to see any more tutorials coming up from me in the future, you know what to do. Thank you for watching this video, and until the next time, bye!